Okay, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. Okay, good. Thanks. Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus and the FOMC Statement. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. All the trades we discuss are for educational purposes, and it is possible to lose money trading futures, so please trade carefully. Okay, welcome everyone to the trade room. Make sure that you have checked out that your computer is in sync. We'll go to the website time.is. Just as a reminder, time.is. Click it. It'll check your computer. If it's in sync, it'll show up in sync. If it's not in sync, there are tools in our file folder. If you look towards the top of the trade room, as you get to the taskbar, you'll see files. And inside that file folder, you will see D4 Time, program called D4 Time. You could download that and run it. It'll put your computer in sync. You just click the Sync Now button. Or PT Sync, which is Karen's Time Sync. They both work pretty much the same, but you want to make sure your computer's in sync if you're trading events. All right, so we have a DMM. First off, this is a margin event, probably at the top of the risk chain, maybe one of the highest risk events in all of trading. Sometimes it responds so calmly and normally it's pretty wild. But one thing that's going on right now is the markets are pretty volatile. So if you decide to trade this, it's extreme risk. It's just a given. Now, we have two setups on the DMM. Let's look at the DMM. That's step number one. So the DMM is our trade report. It's our daily trade report. And it was a little bit late today. It didn't get out till early this morning. So it didn't get out till early this morning. Still, you had time to look at it before the trade room. And here's the deal. So if you look at the NQ, the NQ has had some difficult trades over the past 6 Fed events. It had 3 losers in a row, and it's had 2 winners in a row. But here's what's interesting. I will say that we have a trap trade that has the highest quality testing of almost any trap trade I've ever seen. And I did some extra testing this morning for the MES, just because I know that this is a high margin event and not everybody can trade full size instruments. So I have a setup for the MES as well as we have an ES setup. I'm trading the trap trade. Um, I've liked the NQ breakout, but it really is a 50-50 trade. Um, the way it's showing today, it's got three winners, three losers out of the past six. That's pretty normal for the NQ. When it works, it's awesome. And then it goes through a period where you get a couple of bad ones, and then it comes back to working. And it's because the Fed statement overall has an inconsistent response to the news. If it was very, very consistent, then we might have a higher win-loss ratio on the setup. So there's a reason why a setup is 50-50, and that's the most common reason. It's because the inconsistency of the response to the news. Now, let me show you. Why don't we set the trade up first? So, if you want to trade the trap trade, here's how I'm going to trade it. Right click the chart, double click strategies, click on trap trade, and the first thing I'm going to change is activate, and it's going to be, let me get my clock up here. It's going to be 13:59:55. There's really no rush usually to. This is a report you don't have to worry about time as much as some other reports. Usually there won't be a response until the news comes out, other than there have been times where, because the market is so volatile, there have been early fills on reports with this kind of a report. So it's hard to get an early fill, but I've seen it. But look at the NQ, you got an 80 bracket. It's a very big bracket. It's a little bit tough to get a random 80 tick move before the news. I've seen it happen, but it's rare. But like I said, I'm interested in the trap trade. What could ruin the trap trade? It could be a move only in one of an explosion in just one direction. I think because of everything going on in the markets, an explosion in one direction is less likely than indecision in the markets, because there's indecision in relation to what's going to happen with the rate cuts. I think that's a real issue. It's possible that no matter what we do, the trap trade could not have a big enough stop. So even though this has been safe literally for more than a year, it's possible that anything could happen today, because these markets, look at the market, look what it's doing. It's not, it's volatile. You're getting big moves, big swings. We're getting big swings. So it's extreme risk. I'm going to probably increase the stop a bit on the ES to 25. You're looking at about $1,000 of risk on an ES trap trade with a stop that big. So, if you don't want to take that kind of risk, please just trade the MES. It tests very nicely. And I'll give you the settings in a minute. So the ES 13:59:55. I'll give you both settings at the same time. The activation time is the same, 13:59:55. The stop for the ES is 25. Let me just think for 1 second. If I'm tempted to use 30, you could always shrink the stop if you don't need it so big. Right now I'm putting in 30. Tier 1 is 38. Tier 1 is 38. and tier 2 is 55. Okay, our zone of safety right now with a 30 stop is 85 ticks. 85 ticks. Now I just want to calculate something. So I really do believe we're easily going to be $1,000 worth of risk on this trade. All right. So keep that in mind. Now that's full ES. Tiers on MES are the same, 38 and 55. Now look, you could use 35 and 53, or you could use 39 and 54. It's a range, okay? You could use 40 and 55 if you want to. Um, I'm going to use 38, 55, and a stop of 30. I'm going to label it. The difference on the MES is use a stop of 50. Everything else is the same. And just keep in mind, you can shrink the stop when the time is right. Okay? You can shrink the stop when the time is right. $13.59.55 on the activation. 50 on the stop on MES. 30 on the stop on ES. Tier 1, 38. You might think I'm nuts. I'm gonna go 35 on my first tier, 55 on my second. Doesn't change the zone of safety. Everything is still the same. We have an 80 tick zone of safety. 85, 55 plus 30, 85 ticks. So, like I said, this trade hopefully will keep us safe. There won't be something crazy that makes the market just decide to go one direction only. What we would love is a whipsaw. That's what we'd love. I'm going to label it trap ES, or you could label it trap MES. And then I'm going to trade it in one of my prop accounts. I'll trade it in I'm going to have to look, so give me a second. 01, apply it, and okay it. So that's setup number 1. All right, and I'll go over it again. Setup number 1. Okay, I guess I will trade that in my number 8 account, which hasn't been touched today. So I just have to tell the software what account I'm trading in. And there's been a few reports that we trade all the time. This is a trade that could blow up your account. So just keep it in mind. It could. You could blow up your prop account with this type of an event. It is possible. You could also have a great trade. So it could go either way. One more time on the setup. MES and ES. The difference is the MES is a stop of 50. The ES is a stop of 30. Our activation time is 13:59:55, 5 seconds before the news. The stop is 30, like I said, and 50 on the MES. Tiers. And if you want to use my tiers, I'm not arguing against it. 35 and 55 are the tiers I'm using. Choose your account. Label your trade. Trap ES. Okay? Trap MES. Apply it. Okay it. And then make sure your chart trader is on the account that you're trading. Okay? Make sure. And that's the trap trade. Okay? That's our trap. If we set our time to 0, we can see where the tiers will line up right now. It'll be different 15 minutes from now. Okay? The stop, I don't love that the stop is near the high. However, what I'd love to see is a move down and a fill to the long side. That's what I'd like to see. Okay. I'd like for the magnet to pull me to the high. That's what I'd like. You don't always get what you want. All right, put your time back to normal on the strategy. 13:59:55 if you were looking, or you could have just been watching me. All right, our trap trade is ready to go. And I'm also going to put on a secondary trade, but let me show you what I'm going to do on the right side first. So on the right side, we have an NQ setup. It's a breakout trade. And the breakout trade, like I said, it's more of a 50-50 event. Breakout trade, trigger time is 13:59:59. And I'm just testing the NQ, just simming it. I'm trading the trap trade with prop money. 13:59:59 on the activation on the NQ. Okay. Our bracket is 12. And Tinker, I'll go over it again for you. The bracket is 12 on the breakout trade, activating at 13:59:59. If you want to use MNQ, I didn't test the MNQ, but I think it can be used. An 80 bracket is big, and it should be okay for this event. I'd use a 200 stop on the MNQ. The bracket is 80. 80 on the bracket, okay? 13:59:59 on the trigger activation, 80 on the bracket. We have targets of 40 and 80. Position 1 is a 1. That just means you're one contract on each target. Position 2 is a 1. And then targets of 40 and 80. On the regular NQ with a stop of 80. Okay? It's a big stop. If it hits my first target, I would move my stop to break even. BE. All right? Target 1 stop move, break even. That's my test. I label it BRKNQ. All right? BRKNQ. And then I'm going to set the time to 0 and just look at the bracket, see how it lines up. Apply it and OK it. When you enable a 0 time trade, you get your brackets pretty quickly. So that's a little big to manage the trade. That's better. Okay. I just want wide enough brackets to manage a trade. If I need to hit the adjust button, I can see where the orders are. Okay, that's why I do that. All right. I'm going to go back and put the time back to 13:59:59, bracket of 80, target 1 of 40, target 2 of 80, target 1 stop move is break even, and the stop is 80. Then I'm sliding down, labeling it BRQ, breakout, BRK, breakout, NQ, and that's our NQ trade. Apply it. Okay it. And my NQ test is ready. All right. I'll go over the trap trade again. Going over the trap trade again. So you're going to right click the chart. Right click the chart. Double click strategies. All right. Choose trap trade V11. Double click it. Now, the only thing you're going to change first is your activation time. All right. I've already got mine chosen. I've already got it set up. 13:59:55 East Coast time. If your local time is different, use your local time. Okay. Micros, yes. I have margins also, Roz. Absolutely. Yep. Same. Stop on the ES is 30, MES is 50. Tier 1 is 35, Tier 2 is 55. Choose the account you're trading in the account tab. Label the trade. I've got it labeled trap ES, and then I'm going to apply it and OK it. Make sure your chart trader is on the account that you're trading, and then enable it in the control panel. Click the checkbox, right? Let me get rid of my DMM. We don't need that anymore. So now both of those events are ready. Make sure across the top on the trap trade, you could see BE for break even, close button, close the trade. And you can also see adjust, cancel the added tier, and combine your orders. Okay. Now, I am going to set up a secondary ES trade because I'm trading the ES. So I'm going to right click the chart and click on strategies. And I'm going to double click JOBB or News Trader, whichever software you're running, whichever version. And on the trade type, I'm going to choose reverse continuation, just one position. So I'm going to zero out everything except a target, one position, and a stop. Okay. And actually a 25 stop. I'm going to use a 30 tick target and one position. That's a discretionary trade only if there's an opportunity after the news, if there's a trend or something that looks interesting to be able to get in. And I label that reversal continuation, apply it, OK it. And when you enable a reversal, it gives you your buttons, instant long, instant short, so that if you want to trade after the news, you have that opportunity. Now, interestingly, let me show you some of the testing that I did. Every single trap trade I tested worked. Some were harder to trade than others, which is completely normal when it comes to trap trades. Sometimes you get an instant profit. Sometimes you get an instant reversal. This was the last Fed meeting, January 29th, and it bursts down and has an instant reversal. But it reverses again, and I didn't get out. Okay, so now you're waiting to get your stop into safety. You want to be patient. The one thing I noticed in all the testing that I did, I'm going to try not to rush into safety. Okay, I'm going to try not to rush into safety. So if you notice, this is taking its time to get back into profit. I don't know if you have Rhythmic or if you signed up for Tradeovate. That would have been the decision you made when you signed up for the account, whether it was Rhythmic or Tradeovate. Probably you chose Rhythmic because it was the first group of signups. So now the reversal is starting to take place. So now I'm starting to think about getting my stop to safety a minute after the news. Okay? So you want to be patient, and there is an opportunity in this trade to get the stop to safety. This was the MES, and then it does a very nice reversal. Okay? So January had a good opportunity for profit. Then we had, after January, we had December 18th, week before Christmas. The Fed still going to move the market the week before Christmas, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know anything about wealth charts. I'm sorry, I don't use it. I think you may have signed up for the wrong thing. I'm not sure. Maybe somebody out there knows. So sorry, this is November 7th. November 7th. November 7th was a no fill. No fill. All right. It just didn't move the market. That's incredible, but it happens. Then we had December. Here's December 18th. Wealth Trader is with Apex, but how does it? I don't even have Wealth Trader on my Apex, and then I never saw any reason to get it. Am I missing something? Wealth charts? Yeah, he chose the wrong account. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. It's something completely different. Okay, there was an opportunity for profit in December also. Opportunity for profit in December. Again, a little bit of patience is worthwhile. November, I showed you it was a cancel, and then we have September. September. All right, here comes September. Let me find it. Now, there is an expectation that there will be no rate change. I think the market would have a monstrous, insane reaction if there is any kind of rate change. It would be a shock beyond comprehension. I cannot imagine that there will be a rate change. There won't be. Here's September, and I also checked July. Now, unfortunately, Nafzoli, there are no refunds with Apex if you signed up for the wrong account. You just have to cancel it. They'll still charge you whatever they charged you, and then you just buy whatever you want to buy. There's no, it's too bad, is what they say. They're pretty, what's the word? Predatory, if you know what I mean. You're not allowed to make any mistakes. They prey on you. And I'll tell you, Calvin, when does that expire? I want to get one of those. Explain to him how to do it, Calvin, or maybe Calvin, post the link. Post the link. Oh, that deal ends March 31st? Ravi, it's Apex. Apex. They have a great deal. Great deal. Yeah, yeah, it's a new deal. Hey, look, let's concentrate on the trade. We can talk about Apex after. Fair enough? This was July on the MES. So look, here's the deal, everybody. Every test of the trap, and I had smaller stops. All of them have been working on every test I did, and I tested 5 recent trades, MES and ES. Try to be a little patient on the management. If you're not patient, the worst that will happen is you'll probably have a smaller profit. It shouldn't be a situation where you don't get a profit. Right, Trader J, you could cancel on your credit card. That's true. Um, you don't want to get into the habit of canceling on your credit card if you want to stay a customer of the company, though, right? So, I mean, they're pretty strict. You can cancel anything by canceling your credit card. It may not be worth it for $30 rather than fighting with the company. Personal decision for everybody to make. All right, let's get ready. I'm going to try and talk through my management. I haven't heard the name Rob Hoffman in 100 years. I used to be in one of his trade rooms like 12 years ago. 12 years ago. It's not $16. Uh, that's not fun. All right. That was a quick check, Robbie. You're as fast as I am. I don't even know what Rob Hoffman's doing these days. What's he trading these days? All right, I'm just watching the market now. I'm watching the ES. I love the fact that it's not that wild. Okay? It's not crazy. Calvin, you said it was only for 2 hours. I should have listened to you. I just, I was on a drug-induced binge. I couldn't buy an Apex account at that time. I wish I was on a drug-induced binge. I was eating lunch and I just thought, oh, it'll go a little bit longer. And then I forgot to check. I never checked it. All right, let's get ready. Let's get ready to go. I hope I don't blow up my prop account today. I literally, this is a brand new account, sort of. There's our orders, okay? Now the news is going to come out. We're filled. Now, get ready to cancel your out of tier. Cancel your out of tier and move your stop up to safety. Oh, what an awesome trade. Awesome trade. Wow. I hope everybody, you know what? It didn't matter. If you didn't do anything, it hit your first target. If you didn't do anything, it hit your first target. So tell me how much money you made. That's all I want to know. Tell me how much money you made. That was a perfect setup. This trade's not over. This trade's not over. It looks like it's going to go test the high. If you like reversal continuations and you love extra risk, I'm done. $600, $875 done. Okay? The NQ looked like it went down at a very nice speed to hit the targets, and then it reversed. It looked like the NQ worked. Now, Roz, I was just going to ask you what you did. Nitin, you traded the trap also. Very good. Anybody else? Everybody check in if you would. All right, Calvin, very nice. Calvin, you traded the trap and not the MNQ. Wow. I'm turning off my breakout NQ. All right. Turning off the breakout NQ. Nice, Calvin. Ravi, okay, so on the full size NQ, it reversed and hit the stop before target two. Now, in Sim, Ravi, it looked like it hit both targets. So obviously, we've seen some crazy fills on the breakouts. Crazy fills on the breakouts. So, Ravi, here's what I would do. Here's what I believe. I think if we have a good trap trade setup, I would always take the trap over breakouts in these markets because I think the fills are so troublesome out of the prop accounts these days. I just don't know what to think, you know? Okay, talk to you later. See ya. Anyway, anybody else trade and make money? Anybody else? Okay, so Tinker, trap trade, very, very simple concept. Very simple. Why don't I show the video and I'll explain what the trap trade is. All right. Everybody on YouTube, you're welcome to watch and we'll teach everybody in the world what a trap trade is. All right. So the breakout was the NQ. A breakout, we put price above and price below. Orders above and below the current price. So let's look at the video and I'll explain both setups. Everybody will know exactly what we did. We're trading tons of trap trades these days, and the definition of a trap trade is an event that we expect it to reverse, and when it reverses, that's when we make our profit. If the market goes up, we sell. If the market goes down, we buy. There's nothing we love more than a whipsaw because the market will shoot down and shoot back up and we'll be in profit as it whips. So we love whipsaws. All right. Nice breakout, Doc. Nice breakout. All right, so let's look at the video. First thing we'll look at is the NQ breakout, just because it's straight ahead and simple to understand. And we had a 80 bracket on the NQ. All right. Our bracket was 80, our stop was 80, and our targets were 40 and 80. That's what it was. So let's go to the trade. Go to the moment of the event. The market was not that volatile, which always makes me think we're going to have a good trade. It's not necessarily true, but at least you're less worried when the market is not crazy volatile before the event. All right, so here we go. We're waiting for the bracket to be drawn. 80 ticks above the current price, 80 ticks below. When the news gets released, that pulls us into the event one way or the other, or it'll whip and stop us out. Now, I could see why Ravi had the problem. In Sim, it just barely hit that second target, and it did a whipsaw. The NQ was a whipsaw. The ES was a fast reversal. Perfect trap trade. So, here's the setup. We have the orange arrow, which is the current price. All right? Orange arrow is the current price. Order number one, order number two, above the current price. If the market goes up, we're selling the market. Then we have two orders below the current price. If the market goes down, we're buying the market. Sometimes it only buys or sells one of those orders. That's what happened today. Watch. It filled our first order. So now I'm waiting for price to reverse. It went down and filled me long one contract. I want to move my stop above my entry as soon as possible, but that order is in my way. I'm not going to do anything yet because it could still reverse, hit that second order, and then reverse again. We don't know what's going to happen yet. Right now, it looks like the reversal is taking place. But we're not sure. It's too soon. It's only 3 seconds. Now I'm sure. So now I could do nothing and just watch and see if it hits the first target, the first sell, and the trade will end if it does that. If I want to trail and increase the size of my targets, I have to press the cancel outer tier button so it gets rid of this order here, so I can move my stop to safety and manually trail as the price goes up, which it looks like it's going to do. I did start to trail, but it hit my target before I could do anything else. So it was basically an instant trap trade. That's a trap trade, Tinker. That's the idea. You're going to put two orders above the price, two orders below the price. If the market goes up, we sell. If the market goes down, we buy. And we make money when we manage our reversal. We've studied this report, this news, and it reverses all the time. That's why I traded the trap rather than the NQ breakout. Not that you can't make money on the NQ breakout. People made a lot of money on it. But I like the trap better because it's performing better month, session after session. All right? So it looks like anyone who traded the trap made money, and some folks made money on the NQ breakout. Was a little bit tougher because it was a whipsaw. It was not so fast that it couldn't hit target one. I always use break-even stop move, right? to protect myself on the strategy. If it hit my first target, then it should get you to break even on your stop. Hopefully. Sometimes it doesn't get there fast enough and you might lose a little more than you expect. But hopefully it protects some of your target 40 tick profit if it hit target one. All right. Anybody have any? Yeah, you could do a standard bracket trade also, Trader J. Absolutely. You can do that. There's a lot of ways you could trade this report because every serious trader that watches this event knows it's going to move a lot of different instruments in a tradable way. So if you like trading gold, you can bet that gold had a pretty good move. Look, gold had a pretty big move up. Now, I don't know for sure if it went down first, but anything I would have traded on this report would have had a large bracket. And we don't have a setup for the meeting. But I'll tell you, Nitin, I mean, if you're a discretionary trader, the meeting is very volatile and there's a lot of opportunities. So, Tinker, the only reason we do it that way is because our testing showed that the NQ has been decent. But if you notice, Tinker, I wasn't trading the NQ with real money because it was only 50-50 over the last 6 sessions. I don't like 50-50 all that much. So when we looked at the DMM on the NQ setup, it's only 50-50 over the last 6 sessions. I only traded it in sim, but I traded the trap trade in my prop. Okay? So I like to trade the best of the best, and I can leave the other ones behind. I don't have to trade. Now, if you don't want to give all your money back and you want to do a magnet for the high, you could put on MES 0625. It's almost too late. It's going to test that high. It looks like it to me, right? Put on a 5. I'll leave that. 2 positions. Put it on account number 8. Apply it. Okay it. Magnet. Enter now if you want to take the risk. Is it going to test the high? What do you think, folks? Should I enter the magnet trade right now? Or should I wait till it gets to my entry? I think it's going to test the high. So I'll enter now. I'll put my stop below structure. I'll risk maybe below this structure here. If it doesn't work, I'll give back a little money. Back to NQ. NQ0625. 19,900 should be resistance, Calvin. I agree with that. That could be resistance. Putting my recorder back on, everyone, if I can find it. So a little bit in the green. If I want, I could put my stop to safety if I wanted to. I don't have a lot of room. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of room. Or I could wait a few minutes. I really don't want to give back a lot. I don't want to give back a lot. but I'm willing to give back below some of the move up, maybe $80 or something like that. Oh, so yeah, TJ. So what is a prop account? Um, the whole concept is pretty simple. The concept is why risk your own money when you can trade other people's money? So, in a simple explanation, if you follow all their rules and pass your on an evaluation account, you almost can trade any way you want and they don't care. And that's usually level one. Then you pass the eval, you go to a level two. Level two, the rules are much stricter. And if you pass level two, then you can actually take money out with most prop firms of the account. But they tighten up the rules, and it's basically they give you the platform, they give you the data, they give you everything for a monthly fee. So it's like a giant carrot in front of the horse. That's really what it is. It's a giant carrot in front of the horse. Most people blow up their accounts like crazy because they trade like wild maniacs. And then some people are real smart about it and they learn to take money out of it. Is that a reasonable expectation? Is that a reasonable explanation, everybody? If anybody wants to add something, please do. I'm going to put my stop to safety. I don't want to get stopped out yet. It's just not pushing up the way I want. So I'll take a small profit and just watch. I think it's going to test the high. Does anybody have any questions? That was a very, very nice trade. I want to thank everybody on YouTube uh, for joining with us. A lot of people made a bunch of money. It's always nice to show a great trade on YouTube. I'm going to shut down our YouTube stream and thank you again for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you would. We'd